So are you saying that the idea space is the union of everybody's idea spaces?
Fantastic question. There's two types of idea spaces. There are personal idea spaces and macro idea spaces. Personal idea spaces are idea spaces that you and I live in right now. Like, you guys are looking at me, you guys have your own thoughts, and no one can see those thoughts, right? It has zero measure, right? And intuitively, zero measure is like, let's say you have a pen and it just shrinks, and it shrinks to the point where it just kind of vanishes, right? That's something that has zero measure. But the trick is that you can have something that has zero measure looks like nothing, right? If I got out a ruler and I tried to measure zero measure, I would get zero. If I got out a ruler and I measured nothing, I would get zero. But you can have something that has zero measure and be uncountable, which is the idea space, right? So you have your personal idea space, which is kind of the one that we're living in, that you're just like living in just with your own thoughts. And then you have the macro idea space, which is the one that you get from just talking to people, like you and I are doing right now, right? We're just like building this imaginary globe of ideas that's creating like unique content and creating new ideas that weren't there before.
Yeah, consciousness is really cool in this way because I think on a previous episode, Parker and I were talking about. I think this was on the "Do You Even Exist" episode, where I think it was Parker that gave the idea that if like we all are connect. Oh no, was it this episode? Anyway, there was some episode where we were floating the idea of physical reality. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was this episode. Physical reality and consciousness being separated, like the mind-body problem. And the whole question was, or the whole topic of discussion was, well, can we control or can we reach to this conscious space? And like now thinking about it, that's literally the idea. Like your idea space is basically how you define or how we were taking it to be like, hey, are we all just separately connecting to this consciousness? Right? So basically what you're doing is you're finding a way to mathematically describe what we think of. Is that semi accurate?
Yeah, that was very well stated, and I like a good point you said where it's like you have mind body duality, right? And that's like such a big problem in like just all humans, right? Like,
It is.
are we controlled by the mind or are we controlled by the body? And like, I think Sam Harris had a good quote where it's like, in order to solve mind body duality, you need to introduce a neutral element to describe it. And I think the neutral element to describe it is clopen. This concept of something can be open and closed at the same time, which
Explain
is a
that in terms
fascinating
of the
concept.
idea space. Explain that in terms of the idea space because I want to, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So a metric space is a way to define distance in between 2 points, right? So your typical distance is Euclidean, right? X squared plus b squared, x squared plus y squared plus c squared plus z squared is your distance, right? But you can also have like a discrete metric where it's like the distance between any 2 points is one. And you could also have a pseudo-metric space where the distance between any 2 points is zero. So the way that you can group things, it can be open, closed, clopen, or neither. So let's think of a circle that's like filled. Imagine that you have a circle and it goes all the way up until the boundary, like a radius of 1, but it doesn't include 1, right? That's open, right? It's like if you ever play video games and like it lags and you're walking up against a wall and it's just like, that's kind of like open. Closed is like that same circle, except when you hit the circle, it includes 1. So if you're playing that video game, you just kind of splat up against the wall. So then the question, you can have something that's like neither. So it's like half open, half closed. So think of a circle where the left side is closed, but then the right side is open. And then you have this magic of clopen, right? So how do we get to clopen? So let's say that I have the number line 1 through 5, right? And it's closed. And let's say I take away the open interval 1, 2, right? What would I be left with? If I take away the open interval 1, 2, and I have 0 to 5, then I'm left with 0 to 1, including the point 1, and then 2 to 5, including the point 2. If I take away the closed interval 1, 2, then I'm left with 0 to 1, not including 1 because that's taken away, and then 2 to 5, not including 2 because that's taken away. So you see that the complement of an open is closed, and the complement of a closed is open. So now the question becomes, let's say you have a space that's closed, and you take out the null set, right, which is intuitively nothing. The null set is closed in nature because it contains all of its limits, right? That's what it means for something to be closed. So you take out nothing, so that the complement, when you take out something that's closed, it becomes open. So if you have a set and you take out nothing, which is closed, it becomes open. But you didn't take out anything, so it's open at the same time. So it's open and closed, so it's clopen. And relating back to the idea space, it's like really similar to like a closed mindset and open mindset, where a closed mindset is like, man, I know everything there is to know about this, right? Like that happens to everybody, like including myself. I feel like a monkey and like an idiot 99% of the time. It's a great way to live. And then you have like that open mindset where it's like, oh, I'm eager to new ideas and everything. And the beauty of everything is you can go from a closed mindset to an open mindset by taking out nothing, which is just kind of crazy.
That's such a math trickery. That's such a math thing.
So
yes, it is.
That explanation was awesome, but I was thinking about something else the whole time. And here, okay, this might be like a lot to say, but I'm going to start with this. So in quantum mechanics, we have these Hilbert spaces where wave functions live, and the wave functions are kind of the objects that we study. And we have this like magical equation that the wave functions evolve through, I guess, which is the Schrodinger equation. It tells us how, if you know the wave function at some time, it'll evolve according to this equation. So in parallel to the idea space, is there some way to describe how the elements of the idea spaces evolve in time? Because I'm thinking about how before anything was alive in the universe, there was just no ideas at all. And then at some point there was the very first idea, and then all the way until now, is there some way to describe the way that very first element has evolved over time all the way until now?
Dude, fantastic question. This is there's a lot to unpack in that, and the way that I would say it is, so at the end of the book I have in the appendix a nice little theory that it's like, so the whole point of physics is, again, an approximation of what we see, right? And there's my little theory at the end is that our idea space is a reflection of the observable universe. So kind of like the way that ideas form is a similar way to the way that stars form, in the sense that the whole point of general relativity is like if you have a trampoline, right, and you put a bowling ball in it, it kind of dips, and then that's like a theory of gravity, right? The bowling ball you put some marbles around it, they'll spin around the bowling ball. And that's kind of what a star is, with all of the planets and everything around it. Same thing with a black hole or whatnot. So my whole idea is that even the same thing occurs within our idea spaces, where different ideas have different weight, right? And the identity of an idea space it's kind of analogous to a black hole, where it distorts and warps the idea space around it so much that you have all of these ideas kind of flowing around it. So for example, I think I sent you guys a couple quotes before this, but another, like an example of an identity would be one for wellness in general, for me at least, and everyone has a different identity based on their idea space, and it's everybody lives 2 lives, and the second starts when you realize you only live 1. And that's a quote by Confucius. And for me, that whole sentiment, because like there's more to just the thoughts, right? It captures the emotions, the sensations with that idea space. And so like a lot of my ideas on wellness revolve around that single identity, right? How do I live my life to a point where I've realized that I have 2 lives, right? That hit me when I first heard that. It was by Naval Ravikant, and that just changed my whole life. I was like, man, like, am I doing what I want to be doing?